And I'll take this.
No one's asking you to record it.
I can do it. Okay, so we're ready? Mm-hmm. All right, so welcome everyone. This is our public health and safety meeting for June. And we just acknowledge Cindy can't be with us today, so and our chief is in training. So, all right, we're going to start with approval of the minutes. So we had the May minutes, and I think they can go ahead. So can we vote to approve the minutes?
I move to approve.
But we can't really do the votes.
That's fine because you have a quorum. There's 3 and you have 2, so that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll vote to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the May minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you need a second?
Just second.
Yeah, second, and we'll approve.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right, so then we're going to go to the public comment. And the way we do this, we ask people to first give their name and address, and then usually we have 2 or 3 minutes per person. And we will take notes to inform the committee's decision. Okay, so we'll start with folks in the room. And in the first row.
Hi, my name is Yang Zhou. I'm a resident in Narberth since 2007. We own, my husband and I, Matt Parker back there, own 406 and 408 Conway Avenue. So we just recently saw installation of parking sign and also a 26.6 feet no parking sign in front of our 2 properties. Stop sign. No parking sign and stop sign. And it took away all the parking space in front of 406 on Conway Avenue and left 1 parking spot in front of 408. We feel this is a kind of overreaching because the traffic flow on Conway and between Conway and Price, which is dead end, is very low. Very few cars go by during the day. Now you have a 4-way parking sign, and so basically, stop sign, sorry, 4-way stop sign. And it impedes people's ability to park their car, and there are other people in the neighborhood park the car on Conway as well, and also it's not uniformly enforced. Like, for example, on Price, at the corner of Price and Conway, Price has pictures as stop sign, but without the no parking sign. So people are parking right at the no parking sign. Whereas we can't now, we have like 26.6 feet, and we walk around the neighborhood around us. The distance between the no parking sign and the stop sign are all different. Some are 16, some are 26, some are 29. So it's not uniformly enforced, and also we believe it's not necessary to have 4-way stop sign there. We also request records of any kind of fatality, any kind of collision there, anything that happened in the last 5 years, and to see what's the basis for making 4-way stop sign there. And then neighbor has some other comments.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Clark. I live at 410 Conway Avenue. I've lived there for over 25 years. My husband grew up in Narberth and grew up on Wooddale Circle. So we've been longtime residents here. My comment is about the no parking sign. To take an extra parking spot away, all we're asking is just to get enough to park 2 cars. So if they moved up the sign a little closer to the stop sign, we have total visual on that corner. There's nothing to impede it. The 2 stop signs that are on Price and Conway, there are no There's no signage whatsoever that says no parking. Cars are parked all the way up to the stop sign, and those two corners are the ones that actually have the hedges on one side and a high fence to block the view of an outdoor pool. So those are the two that really are necessities, because you do have to roll up. So when I stop on Price and Conway at the bushes, I stop at the line, and then I have to roll up a little so I can look around the corner so I can turn. So those two, I think, are more important to address with the no parking from here to corner signs. And it all could be uniform. No, I'm not saying 26.5 feet, because that's ridiculous, because we lose so much parking, and people from the new Price Crossing, I think it is, the townhomes, they're parking extra cars, like one's parking an extra car for her nanny down on Price down there. And you have the people that live in the apartments, they need parking, so they're parking all the way up along 406 Conway. So there's not much parking back in that corner. And if the parking spills around the corner, then they park in front of one of our homes, eliminating parking spot. We both have a shared driveway, so you can only get 2 cars in there technically, unless you allow me to extend the driveway out to make it bigger. But and some neighbors, if you park, like I tried to park up the street 3 weeks ago in front of somebody's house, the next door neighbor accosted me and he said, "That's my spot, you cannot park your car there." And he has a driveway that he doesn't use, but he came after me for parking in front of his next door neighbor's house. So it's kind of ridiculous, but that's what we're dealing with. And plus, people have kids, so when people have gatherings and stuff, and they park extra cars, just that one extra spot would just help us out. That's what we're asking for.
One more, I forgot to mention that on Conway going towards Sabine, we don't have a stop sign. The Sabine is where all the traffic coming from, Lancaster, Linwood, they go down Sabine really fast. So on Conway, when you turn left or turn right on Sabine, it's very dangerous. There's no stop sign. Versus our corner, there's virtually no traffic during the day. So if Borough wants to put a stop sign, that's a better corner to put a stop sign, because it's dangerous to have a high wall in that apartment at the corner of Sabine and Conway. So when you turn left, you can't see anything coming. And many times I almost got hit.
Thank you. Let's go to the second row.
Matt Parker, 408 Conway. I'll just echo these guys and say, given that parking's a challenge for the whole neighborhood, 2 feet, move that one sign a couple feet, they'd buy everybody an extra spot.
Okay.
Rick Jewell, corner of Conway and Price. Thanks for hearing us. Parking is obviously the overriding issue. In front of my house now, the parking spot is now, I do have one car in my driveway off of Price. But it is dense parking. It's always a question whether to find something within a few houses when you come home, especially since the other places are built. Anecdotally, from my perspective, I've lived on that corner for pushing 15 years, and I've never witnessed anything scary. Never heard tires screech, horns blow, accidents. Don't know, I haven't heard of it. If there was an event where someone got hurt or scared, I haven't heard of it. I surely have never witnessed, and I sit outside a lot. So I don't understand why there's a 4-way stop sign required there. For 15 years, I've seen no problem with it. And frankly, amusingly, people, because they're in a village, more often than not, I will watch a car come down Conway and actually slow down to stop where there is no stop sign, because they figure there's probably going to be one there. It's a crosswalk. Well, the crosswalk's there, but even before they painted those nice crosswalks, people would intuitively slow down and almost stop before they realize, oh, wait a minute. And when I pull out of my little driveway on Price to cross Conway, I have a stop sign. Someone will be coming down Conway and they'll stop to let me go because I was there first. And I look at them, I have to wave them on because people think there's a stop. It's not an unsafe corner. I mean, I don't know where the need for these stop signs are coming from, but that's my point.
Okay.
Also, one last thing is a technicality. I came home from work Wednesday night, the 7th, not with the mailman, but stuffed in my front door. There's a letter here from the Public Works Manager, who does a great job on there, by the way. I'm getting this because I'm a corner property owner and I'll be affected by the installation of no parking here to corner signs. The signs will be installed the week of June 12th, next week. The signs have been there. Today's Friday, since 2 Fridays ago. So this letter is a fait accompli. So I don't understand why I'm getting this 2 weeks after you guys already put these signs in front of my house.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the back row. Any comments?
I got one. Jay Whitmore, live at 121 Windsor, and I've been coming for a while. My interest is in the four-way stops along Windsor. So my understanding from last meeting is that the Conway one is moving forward, but I haven't, seen construction there, so hoping to confirm that. And then when it comes to the Dudley and Windsor intersection, as well as the Grayling and Windsor intersection, just kind of curious if those discussions are continuing. I saw it as an item, so looking forward to that. And I guess my main point there would be that main artery, the Windsor artery going through town, is built as a grid. Every intersection is a grid. And to the gentleman's point, I think, maybe a little bit further off Main Drag, there haven't been as many issues, but having sat on my porch for almost a year now, lots of horns, lots of screeching tires, especially Conway and Dudley. So just want to throw that out there. Got kids, and these are also intersections for, for bus stops and things like that, so.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have bus stop on our corner, just so.
Okay, are there comments online?
Does anyone online have a comment? I just see a phone number, I don't know who it is.
Okay. Okay, so thank you all for your comments. We will take this under advisement and discuss over the next few months. I mean, our chief is not able to be here because he's in training today, so we're not going to be discussing it further today. And we have some pressing business with the solid waste ordinance and the mobile food ordinance. So we're hoping to move ahead to those items, but I thank you for your comments.
Can I ask
Thank you for
procedural question about the notification of these type of maneuvers? In other words, the fact that I got this letter, the day it was written, I take it that I should be notified when there's something that's going to affect my domicile. But yet, I didn't receive this letter 2 weeks before the sign went in. I don't understand why I got this letter and never got one to have a chance for input before the fait accompli. That's all. I'm just curious what I missed or what I should know going forward as to how things operate so that I'm not here begging to have something reverted that I might have a chance to have input on before that. That's all.
No, I'm sorry that you would have got the notice after the fact. We're going to talk about that. And also I'm going to follow up with you. I have your contact information. So I want to speak with our engineer, our solicitor, and our chief of police about just the stop signs in general, about, making them more uniform with the no parking. Like, we have things that we need to rectify here, obviously. So we're going to be discussing it and I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. We just want to urge that you think about the practicality and the parking scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate all of you coming.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your work. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
So that's it, we're not discussing.
So, yeah, we won't be able to go ahead with traffic concerns. Has been a main topic, I think, for many, many months, but it's not something we can really.
I think if we could just give a general update on where we're at with all that.
Really? I mean, do you have the latest? Because I don't have them.
I mean, Conway was, last meeting, we were
Yes.
all here, was underway, was what you all said.
So procedurally, don't we have to have the traffic engineer has to do just a report for those stop signs, right? But we gave him the authorization, so he's working on the traffic report.
And
And then
Conway was finished, right? As a,
Price and Conway was done.
not Preston
Yeah.
Conway, sorry, Windsor and Conway.
Yeah, so there were two stop signs that we thought we should go ahead on. It was Conway
Mhm.
and Windsor or Grayling. Sorry.
Yeah, I leave it to the traffic engineer. I don't have all the.
I think it was Dudley and Grayling were under discussion as of last time. Conway and Windsor intersection was approved as of last time.
Right, so at this point, we have to give the traffic engineer has to basically do a report to confirm that the stop signs are needed, so we're giving him the go-ahead on those to do his report. And then the other two, we still have to kind of discuss or come to some kind of consensus on those. So yeah, so the next step is, we're waiting, the traffic engineer has to do the report on those ones that we talked about doing. And then, assuming that he says, it's warranted, then we can, move forward with the ordinance and advertisement to do that. So that's kind of where we're at. And then on Iona Avenue, did you want to talk about that too, or?
And sorry, just to clarify, that report that you referenced, the warranted one,
Yeah.
the warrant, and we checked minutes from the previous meetings, but my understanding was that the warrant was, like, he submitted that for the Conway and Windsor intersection. And then the only two that were still under discussion were the Dudley and Windsor and Grayling and Windsor intersections. And I'm not trying to be like controversial, it's just like that was
Yeah.
as of the last meeting, it was like, okay, cool, the warrant's here. Now we have to bring this to the main committee and then like advertisements and things like that. So like my understanding was that this was underway and surprising that it hadn't been done yet, but like was hoping to not have to wait another month, or if we skip meetings over the summer, 3 months to get a resolution on this.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, yeah, look, you have to understand, we're in a staff transition, so the manager will not be here for a couple months, so there's a
I've been coming
delay.
here banging this exact drum for like 9 months now.
I hear it.
I'm going to follow up with the traffic engineer after this meeting, because he's also doing a proposal for Iona Avenue for the traffic improvements along there. So I'm just going to quickly follow up with him just to confirm everything that he's done with the analysis for the stop signs along Windsor. And then assuming like he's already done the work, then we can kind of move forward with council approving to go to the next step. So I'm going to have a follow-up call with him on all this. I'm sorry that we don't have more to discuss at this time, but I'll follow up with him, and then we should have an update next month or the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, and again, just the Conway Windsor one, that's the one that is closest to the finish line. And that is definitely like the one where you've got people accelerating out of the library, huge stop signs, like that's the biggest pain point. And I know that the Dudley one and the Grayling one are like nice to have and further ahead and probably need like traffic engineer input and all that kind of stuff. But main disappointment to date is that the Conway one hasn't been built yet. And I think the warrant's there. I think everything should be set, but like, as you said, right?
That was the one that the fire company had concerns about.
Yeah, but we, as a committee, we voted to go ahead, even though the fire department objected.
Yeah.
And that may require eliminating parking in front of the library, is one of the, there's all sorts of downstream consequences.
Sure.
So
what we can do just to kind of help our engineer here is on Monday or Tuesday, I'll have the guys deploy our traffic counting, equipment out there so we can just get the speed problems.
Yeah.
So we did it in 22, but I just want them to do it again so our engineer has the most accurate info.
Okay.
And then I'll send him the reports from 22 and this current one, just to kind of help him speed this thing along for us.
And that traffic counting, would that be for the Dudley and the Grayling intersection or just for Conway?
I'll put it up here at Conway so I can get the speeds for people coming this way and both that way as well. So
Yeah, I know that to your point, like in 22, there was that data packet. He analyzed all that. I think that was part of his comment, like when he was making his comments on the Conway and Windsor intersection here.
okay, so thank you, Jay. I know you've been working on this, and it's slower than we want, but we'll get there. And Alan will be in touch. Okay. Cool.
Thanks.
All right, so our main item, Alan, I think we're trying to get to 7 and 8. It's been down on the agenda for a while, and so we never quite get there. The solid waste ordinance and the mobile food vendor. So we have the fire company report, and I believe we have a police report that can be filed.
I have not received that, but
Or come later in the month.
it should be coming.
So
For the police, I just want to acknowledge that we have received our Ford F-150 electric vehicle. It's outfitted, it's in service, and we're very excited to have that in the borough.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I know our chair of our advisory committee is here, Rebecca Starr. I mean, would you want to say anything by way of a brief update? I think you just met yesterday, or?
We met yesterday. Rebecca Starr, 156 Marion. We met yesterday, and we're proceeding with the tasks that you sort of gave us in our first mission directive. And are trying to sort of kind of wrap it up so that we can get you a first report. But basically we're doing a needs assessment, and we're trying to get more input from the community as to their opinions, impressions, understanding of the police department and the strengths and weaknesses. So that's where we're at right now. We had hoped to be finished with surveys and listening sessions before the summer, but it's going slower than we had hoped. So hopefully by early fall, we'll be able to get you that first report.
Okay, great.
In the meantime, though, it's been really nice to be able to meet with the police chief, who really seems great for Narberth. And we're sort of brainstorming other ways that we can be of service, not just to this committee, but also to the police force in terms of assisting them.
And if residents want to weigh in, how should they, emails have gone out, right?
Sure, so at the moment there is, the Civic Association pushed out a survey. We've decided, originally we were going to do it in a more targeted way, but we've decided to try to push that survey out to the community as a whole. So we'll be doing that through the, trying to think what we decided, through the newsletter, through social media, I think are our primary needs at this point to push that out. And then we're going to pause and see how many responses we get and go from there. We may, if we don't have enough, schedule some more general listening sessions, or maybe even do some spot door-to-door survey. We may just do it in a targeted way. We want to make sure that we're receiving opinions from minority residents of all kinds to make sure that we have sort of appropriate demographic data. So we're sort of going to wait and see what happens with the surveys. But the other way is that if anyone wants to reach out to us, they certainly can attend our meetings, which are, we've been very diligent about posting the schedule and the agendas online.
Okay.
Rebecca, I saw the survey go out, but it indicated that it was for Narberth.
Sorry, my hearing with it.
It was for the Civic Association members. Is it actually for like the larger community?
So at that point, it was sent out to the Civic. We're going to now also push it out to the general.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca.
I had one additional item I want to add. Yesterday, I officially swore in our newest police officer, Casey Sapp. We will have a ceremonial swearing in at the next borough council meeting, but he is officially on duty.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. So. I think we can move ahead then to 7, to solid waste, which I think is time sensitive. That's my understanding. So, Alan, I don't know, how can we be most helpful? Is there anything that you need from us, or?
I wasn't really here at the start of the process. I've kind of just been moving this along. So you're kind of like my resource as an expert on this. So,
okay.
I mean, do you have any comments about the changes that are proposed?
I have questions.
Yeah, okay.
So we can just go through the ordinance if that's okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Sure.
Can we bring that up, Alan, on the screen, or?
Yeah.
Pardon my back to you guys, but I can't beat that.
I know I can't see that.
Yeah. Why don't you come up closer?
So going down to page 3 of the ordinance, I guess that highlighted section of the 1 unit of waste. I'm assuming that that's a decision point that we're going to have to make in terms of what constitutes 1 unit of waste. I'm just wondering if we have any metrics or data to inform that decision.
Not to my knowledge. If you could actually summarize for me, from my understanding, can you bring me up to date on where we're at with this? Because I didn't really get to discuss it with Samantha before she left.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really know why we're proposing these changes, when this started. Like, it would be helpful, I guess. You probably know more than I do, is what I'm saying about the proposed changes here. Or you don't. I mean,
you know, some pieces of it, but, I mean, I you know, generally speaking, there were inconsistencies between the ordinance and the contract with Republic, you know,
Okay.
and so we were trying to kind of clean up the ordinance in time for bidding the next contract, and also put us in the best possible position to negotiate the contract we want. So I think one of the ideas, maybe it came from you, Alan, or maybe it was Samantha, but right now we have this pickup schedule that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but there may be a way to kind of spread that over 5 days, and maybe we could negotiate a better price on the contract. You know, so things like that.
I think that idea actually initially came from our current trash hauler.
Okay.
They had proposed that as an idea to be more efficient with their pickups.
So,
and the EAC has already weighed in on this? Or they haven't?
yeah, the EAC sent a memo.
I know about the plastics and styrofoam, I'm aware of that, but I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, there's a second memo. Let's see, I'll bring that up. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of whatever revisions we could make or want to make in time for the
And going back through agendas, it looks like this has been on the agenda for like a while.
Yeah, right. We've never really gotten to it.
So, I mean,
Okay.
I think the timeline aspect of it is that we're going to need to renew the contract
This year.
this year, and we're going to have an updated trash ordinance prior to that. So, I think that's the urgency of it.
Okay, so John Walko drafted this, is looking for input. I mean, I don't, so for us to determine, you know, what a unit of waste is, I wonder, he's leaving that up to us, I guess?
Well, I'm sure he has suggestions. You know, I mean, one way we could do this is I could talk to him on the phone to figure out what exactly he's seeing other municipalities do.
Okay.
I mean, if there's any way to get any kind of data on that in terms of what kind of volume of trash we're seeing from some of these multi-use family units or commercial businesses, then that might help better inform that decision.
I would imagine we're not the first to reinvent the wheel, and that there are, I mean, this exists in every municipality in America, and that there's probably some generalized standards for the stuff that we...
Well, so what I'm surprised is, so in my previous job, North Wellsboro is part of the Northern Montgomery County Recycling Commission. It's 14 municipalities that are like in the North Penn area. So we each are pretty much on the same page with our ordinances, but all that information has been determined by the collective agency as to what we should be passing. So do we not have something like that in this area, in the Narberth area, that has guidelines, or like, here's what you should be passing?
So this, as mayor, I don't, this is generally the committee.
I don't think like we can determine what a unit is without having an expert look into it.
Yeah, let's table that one for John, because we don't, you know, I mean, one of the issues was tailoring, you know, for example, sure, there's standard language, but when you have 9, you know, trash cans on the sidewalk in front of a multi-unit building, you know, how do we handle that? That was kind of one of the questions, because we wanted to promote pedestrian-friendly, you know, environment. Trash cans are blocking the sidewalks, so that was one of the concerns, and I don't know if we'll be able to address it. We're hoping to, but, you know, I could work with John to see what could be done. I mean, what's your timeline, Alan? When do you need this ordinance done, would you say?
I think we have to renew the contract this coming fall.
Bid
Yeah,
ASAP.
right. So in the next month? You
I
probably,
would say probably by August, September.
okay.
So can I also move down to page 5? So in general, in those ordinance, it's a little bit confusing as to whether commercial, institutional, or industrial establishments are being considered as receiving borough trash hauling services.
Mm-hmm.
So under 437.7, property subject to waste collection by borough, under D it says commercial, institutional, or industrial establishments shall not be eligible for borough waste collection and disposal services. So I feel like that's in conflict with some of the other language in this ordinance. So I just wanted to clarify that. Are we considering providing some, because in other parts of the ordinance it says if the borough agrees, they could provide trash hauling services for certain size multi-use family units or commercial establishments. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a discrepancy in there.
Mm-hmm.
Which we provide some of that along Haverford, right?
Right.
The collection for the businesses.
Right.
there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So, is there anything else, Jean, that you flagged?
No, that was it.
So maybe it's just, and do we have anything else highlighted by John in the document?
Waste collection practices.
Oh, okay, this might be the area where we talk about the cans blocking pedestrians.
I think what might be the most helpful and productive is like, if we could collectively review this more in depth on our personal time. You know, any questions or concerns that you have. And then I can take this to both John Walco, our engineer, and whoever else, just provide feedback on those items.
Right.
Because like, truth be told, I mean, I haven't really had time to dive into this. Like,
Yeah.
it started before me, and I have a lot of stuff going on, so
Totally
I was kind of
understandable.
leaning on, you guys, because you had been here earlier than I have, and we're in discussions with this prior to me, but it doesn't really appear like that's the case.
Well, yeah,
So-
no, we haven't done much with it. You know, I think
Yeah,
this was kind of a project that Samantha had in mind, and then we didn't get to it with her.
okay.
So it's just kind of been on the table, but no one's really taking the lead on it.
Okay.
So,
It is a priority though.
I think we need to knock out the next meeting, just focus on this, right? This will be our primary review item for next meeting.
yeah, well, I do think you're right that we need to, I think I should talk to John before to see what, or get more history on this, because I don't know enough either about some of the conflicts that we've had. I think maybe Cindy may be familiar with some of it.
I'm thinking Pinoni might also have some good input on certain things, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I think we just need to really get in a position for next month where we can go over our concerns. And hopefully by then we can address them, or have them addressed by Pinoni and John Walco and other folks.
Okay. All right, that sounds good.
It's hard with the hour with the public health and safety, because it's like we get caught up talking about one topic I've seen, and then we don't get into like other things, and then so we just need to make this our primary focus
Oh, yeah.
next month.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. today, yeah.
I would make that very clear just on the agenda, one item.
Yeah, I think we can drop off the other items,
Yeah.
you know, and put it as number one, you know. Okay, so,
Would it make sense for him to be there at the next meeting then, if we want to finalize it at that?
Yeah, I could see if they could be here at the next meeting. Also, I plan to we can work behind the scenes and try to answer questions and concerns and comments on things as well.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll plan on that. I can talk to Cindy, because I think she may have had some specific concerns. And you've shared your concerns, you know, so I think what I would do is call John Walco and just try to get on the same page with him. And then you know, he could deliver something to you. Ellen, does that work?
That's fine.
So we could have kind of a revised, like a pretty final version that we would look at our next committee.
I just do want to make a note though, that the ordinance does have language in there that provides for the borough being able to supply services to certain commercial establishments, and I think that's an asset to, it's something that we need to address some problem areas in the downtown district, and also certain residential areas as well.
Okay.
So I think that it's good that we added that in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then the next item is the mobile food vendor regulation.
Yeah, so John Walco provided sample ordinances. We have Norristown's. As you all know, we have some vendors who are coming through town. We don't have any regulations in place, so John, you know, provided this as a sample, you know, and he's looking for input from us if we feel like what's in this sample policy is something that Narberth would want to adopt, and if so, then he can draft an ordinance.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah,
What's your thought?
so I had a chance to go through the sample ordinance. I think it's actually a good fit for Narberth. It covers a lot of the things that we would need. It's more about regulation. It's not about banning mobile food vendors or anything like that. It's just putting some guardrails in place so that there's some time limitations in terms of how much they can function and where they can operate. So I think that's a good thing.
I did not have a chance to go through this in depth. Is there a noise portion of it?
Yeah, so there's a place in the ordinance, I don't remember exactly where it was, but like for ice cream truck vendors specifically, they say that they can only, the time limit is 15 minutes in a public right of way or in front of a residence. So that puts very strict limits in terms of where they can stay for and have their music. It didn't have anything specific to noise, but it was more of a time limit.
Yeah, so that might be one thing we'd want to add, you know, because there've been complaints about the late hour.
Well, so I think that was in here as well. For the ice cream truck vendor, or actually, I think it's for all mobile vendors, it was, the time limit was something like 11 a.m. to sunset.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense to me.
It does make sense,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna see if I can find that part.
I'm sorry, I know it's not public comment, but I have a procedural question that I just don't understand. Is there a way to?
Yeah, and just briefly, yeah.
No, I'm just curious, like, when you're drafting an ordinance like this, you say next meeting you want to work on it, is there a time that the draft ordinance gets posted so that if anyone wants to come for public comment, they can come for public comment in advance of the ordinance being passed?
We advertise the ordinance.
Where and how?
I can speak to that. Procedurally, what happens is the committees will review an ordinance and they'll recommend that council adopt the final version. So the next step is council has to approve advertisement of that ordinance. So they'll vote at a council meeting to advertise, and then you have to do a legal publication in the newspaper. So not more than 30 days, no less than 7 days from when you're proposing to adopt it. It has to be in the newspaper, say when the hearing is going to be held for that ordinance. And that's the time when the public can come out and comment on the ordinance prior to adoption.
So it's after it's already worked through committee?
Yeah, the committee pretty
Prior
much,
to adoption, okay.
the committee pretty much tees it up, gets it into a place where council can then consider it, and then at that time, that's when you do public comment. I mean, public comment can also come during the committee meetings as well. That's why you kind of like start here and then it goes to council. So that's pretty much the process. Yeah.
Also, the trash ordinance has been in the agenda packet for many months now. So it's public knowledge, it's public.
But it's true, I mean, there'll be time when the draft ordinance is available, and before council, it'll be in the council packet, before the vote, but we're not there yet. This is like a draft of a draft.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just trying to look for that sunset, the time.
Oh.
Did you?
You can do a control F,
Yeah,
look up sunset.
I did that, didn't find it.
Let's see.
I just want to be clear on the times, because I know
It's
that's.
under ice cream trucks.
Okay,
Under 3, hours of operation, ice cream trucks may operate beginning at 11 a.m. and ending at sunset unless otherwise restricted by the operator's mobile food vendor license.
okay, great. So I would think that would address, the main concerns.
The one thing I would also like to see addressed that I'm not seeing here is preventing truck making a constant noise that sits in front of,
Yeah.
residents or
Well, that's the
location
15 minutes.
for 15 minutes. Because it has become fairly disruptive in front of certain businesses.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure that's unintentional.
I think the 15 minutes would address that as
Yeah.
well as a time restriction.
Yeah.
I think part of the issue was that it was happening at late hours after dark.
Yes, and it was also sitting in front of a music shop where somebody was supposed to trying to give lessons. And it was interfering with the business. So maybe there could be a line or something to the effect that it may not interfere with other businesses attempting to do business or,
It seems pretty hard to enforce.
yeah.
yeah, I think it's enough. I mean, 15 minutes, and if it's 15 minutes in front of a guitar shop, I mean, they'll have to work that out. That's like unreasonable. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm pleased that there are these time restrictions,
okay.
because I think that was really quite eerie when the ice cream truck.
It was a little weird, and you don't want kids running out in the dark to go get ice cream.
When you're trying to put
Running
kids
into
to bed.
traffic to go get ice cream, that's a bad precedent.
All right, so, this ordinance also calls for licensing. Does it
Yeah.
call for business tax? That was something that we
I didn't see that in there.
discussed.
Oh, yeah.
But there's something in there for a permit, food vendor permit. So I guess Norristown requires a $300 permit for all mobile food vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we should discuss in terms of number one, if we want to require a permit. Number two, what that amount should be given the size of our borough. And whether it should be maybe the first permit, like for the first time you apply, it's higher, and then to renew it would be a lower amount. And whether we want to do like a temporary permit as well, because let's say we happen to want to do like a a mobile food truck day, like
Right.
a parking lot,
And
and they're only there for like a day.
so I know the 4th of July committee is working on events just for that day, and one of the things they want to do is bring in some food truck vendors just for that night. And I think if they were charged $300, that would end all the, nobody would be
Right, right.
interested. So maybe a one-day permit that is
A
$10,
temporary event.
yeah, or something like that.
Well, don't, the community organizations generally run the events, right? So the way it worked when I ran events in North Wales was like, we did a community day. So we had food trucks fill out a registration form and pay $150. But we didn't have them, it's not like they received a permit per se. I just feel like if these community organizations are running just a one-day event with having food trucks, I don't really think the permit process is probably applicable or should, I don't know. I just don't feel like,
It seems onerous.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would deter people if you said, oh, you need to have a permit to come to our event.
Yeah, that,
Like, I can understand making them register and pay a fee. But as far as the permitting goes, I would keep it more for long-term or more frequent food trucks.
right.
And I do think they should have a permit, because if they're not following the ordinance, then we can revoke their permit. And then, then they'll have to leave or they'll be cited.
Yeah.
So I think there is something in this ordinance about that. So for a one-day event or something like that, and they're approached in terms of whether they have a permit, they're allowed to stay for two additional hours. So for something like that, where it's only a very finite amount of time, 3 hours or whatever, they would have the allowance for that. Let me see if I can find exactly what that was.
So for the 4th of July, they're gonna have them in the morning, and then they're gonna have them in the evening. Two different sections, from 10 to 1, there'll be certain food trucks, and then from, say, 6 to after the fireworks, there'll be another set.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I feel like the reason why we're pursuing an ordinance for food trucks is not for our festivals or events, but it's more for frequent flyers or
Frequent flyers who are maybe not, doing things that are annoying citizens.
So I think maybe we should focus more on enforcing of the frequent flyers or the routine food trucks, ones that are more permanent versus the ones that are coming to our events.
I'm 100% on board with
That's
you.
just my
Yeah.
opinion, but
Yeah.
So, I don't think I see anything about the business privilege tax, so I don't know, that might be one question we have for John Walco, if that can even be done. It would have to be, I don't know, prorated for the time that they're in the borough, or since they're not, as, brick and mortar.
Is that a standard thing?
It's just it's a percentage of their sales, so.
Oh, okay.
We do that, we have contractors, to do business privilege registration, even though their business isn't located in the borough, but they still have to register. So we could do that with the food trucks as well, I believe.
Okay. Okay, so are there any other changes that we'd want to see, I guess, to this, Jean? Were you comfortable with this?
Well, I wouldn't copy this word for word. There's another section in there in terms of restricted streets. I don't think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
We do have some private roads in the borough. And I think.
Yeah, there's language in there for it's not allowed on private residence unless they have express permission from the property owners.
And I'll take it back.
Okay, but generally, I think we're comfortable with this. I mean, it has the 15-minute restriction,
Right.
it has the 9 to sunset.
Right. I actually had brought this ordinance to the committee early on.
Right.
And so I had gone through it, in total, back when I brought it to the committee. So I was familiar, it's just been a little time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and Alan, you're okay with this? I mean, we could ask John Walco to?
Yeah, he could draft an ordinance. I guess I just want to make sure I'm clear so in here, what certain things do we not want? You had mentioned no restricted streets, so
Right.
Did you just?
Yeah, so at the very end, there's a list, I think. Let's see where that is.
What section is that?
Was,
Find it.
so on
It's,
operational restrictions,
we don't have page numbers, I guess.
number 14.
14.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
right, so those are Norristown streets. John would change that anyway. But I guess,
Actually, there is one more thing that we should probably discuss.
yeah,
Is that, regarding the permits, they said there's a designated permit administrator. So is that part of the staff?
Yeah, so it would probably be, I would have to sign off on the permit as the manager. And then we possibly could have not public works, I'd say maybe have the chief also sign off on it. Maybe have him review it.
okay.
So yeah, it would be handled through the admin. We would do just another form and Missy would issue the permit. I'm sure we can probably do it through MyGov. That's our permitting software.
And also what that process does is it makes sure they have all of the health permit, or,
Right.
that they're licensed, that they have, approval from the Department of Health, and make sure they're legit.
Yeah, so that's that, after the list of streets, that's that next section, I think Jean's referring to, mobile food vendor permits A. And I think the language there is, kind of general enough that it would work. It says the designated permit administrator, so whoever you want that to be.
So it'll just be like, if we're doing the business privilege collection or registration too, that'll just be part of the process. And Missy's very familiar with administering that for building permits, so we'll just follow like the same procedure for these, making sure they also fill that out in addition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in terms of things that we would ask John to change, it would just be the 14, remove 14 basically, the list of streets.
And also the fee structure, correct? I mean, I feel like $300 a permit is too high for.
Okay.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Okay, so we could have a lower fee.
Yeah, and we might talk about upgraded or
A tier.
fee structure.
Would this be like a one-time permit?
It's a yearly.
It's a yearly?
So that's a significant cost. And
Well, so it depends. Like, my thinking is like, some of these food vendors, they can make that back in like a couple of days. I mean, like, it depends. Like, we were charging, like I said, well, it depends. If it's a big event, they generally make that back and then a lot more. But yeah, $300, maybe a lot. Yeah, we can look at other fee schedules in addition to Norristown and see like what other people are charging.
I mean, consider Norristown's much larger
Yeah.
jurisdiction. I mean, it's technically a borough, but it's a small city.
Right, that's how I always thought of it. And like a lot of these food vendors in Norristown are setting up like right next to the courthouse. And
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot more foot traffic.
Right, exactly. So, in a half square mile, a borough of 4,300 residents, the chance for profit, is significantly less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
okay.
also whether there should be a temporary permit
Yeah.
Temporary permit for a day.
For a one-day thing.
I guess it could be multi-days, like over a weekend or something,
Yeah,
like 3 days.
Something like that.
Okay. So what I have, Alan, is this okay if you pass this on to John, or would you like me to? I have a list of 4 items, like drop the restricted street list.
Yeah, that's what I have, yeah.
add the business privilege tax,
Okay,
if that can be done in a way that's easy to administer. Lower the fee structure, or at least see what other municipalities do, and
temporary permit.
temporary permit.
Yeah. I think I'd be more in favor, like you said, if it is like a multi-day thing, like a weekend or something, maybe. I just don't like see for like an event that's like 4 hours long, making them get a permit. I don't know. if
So
they
maybe we
wanna-
can have an exception, for our 12 hours or less, no permit is needed.
Yeah, like I said, in the ordinance, it allowed for that. So if it was just a few hours in a day, then they were allowed to do that.
I think you said what, it was 3 hours or less?
Let me see.
Oh, it's 2 hours. I think,
Oh, you found it.
yeah.
What page is that on? Or, I guess it doesn't.
Yeah, she's
It's,
talking about page numbers.
Section, wow. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Under the permitting section, if you go down to temporary permits, it'd be letter F. Pretty much at the back end before they talk about citations.
Mhm.
Temporary permit F here.
Okay, so set some temporary permit option for more than 2 hours, less than a year,
Right.
a day, a few days. All right, but otherwise I think we would be comfortable recommending that. So we could, depending on John's schedule, we could look at that again,
Okay.
whenever he's ready.
Yeah, I know he's working on a lot of ordinances. So yeah, I'll check in with him on those 4 items.
Okay,
But yeah, hopefully he can provide something for the July or August meeting. This one's not as critical as solid waste, so we'll,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
For the temporary, the temporary one, I would do, because events are typically 4 hours, they're more longer than 2 hours. If somebody hires a pizza truck for a kid's birthday party, I would say less than 4 hours in any month. Or give it so that if you have a little party or a little gathering, you don't have to cut it off in 2 hours.
Okay,
Less than 4 hours in any 30-day period or something.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our, what we can do today, unless Alan, is there anything else that you have?
Nope,
Okay.
all good.
All right, so we will adjourn our June meeting and we'll plan to meet in July because we need to finalize the solid waste ordinance then. And then we'll see where we are. Maybe we won't need to meet in August. We'll have to see. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right, thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you.